So many passed away last night. So many passed away early this morning. So many passed away right now. Somebody else has passed away. God seen favor in us to be here today. We need to thank Him for that. I'm so happy to be here because it's a great day. It's Men's Day, and the focus is on men today. So I'm very honored that y'all chose me to be the speaker. Come here and speak. But more important, to come home in my hometown, which I love. I love my hometown and I love all of them. I'm like Dorothy on the Wizard of Oz right now. Ain't no place like it. I've been to a lot of cities, but there will never be a place like home. First, I would like to thank your Pastor Stokes for allowing me to be here today. Thank you so much. I want to give a special thanks to Mr. Banks for contacting me a couple months ago and asking me to come. I've always looked up to him, and as I told him, you never know who might be watching. And as a child, I watched him. This is a man of great dignity and pride, and a man of God. And I've patterned my life from people just like him. Because, you know, I come up in the struggle, so my father wasn't always around because my mother and father separated. So I took a little bit here and took a little bit there. And I'm so happy that, you know, I was able to take that from him. Next, I want to say thank you to Frankie, one of my best friends. Frankie, we go a long way back. Frankie's always been there for me. He requested for me to be here today and be the speaker here. He's a great man of faith, and look what your faith would do for you. God blessed him when his whole world was broken. And look what he did for him. And he knows who's in his corner now. He knows that Jesus is always going to be there for him because he walked through that struggle with him. And Frank was up here earlier talking about us playing football and everything. Frankie was the one behind everything. Frankie knew how to hit. He was precise. Him and Anthony, and they beat me up. They made me the fighter that I am, you know, as a professional fighter. I got it from them because they used to beat me up on the football field. I didn't start growing probably until I was in the 9th grade because I was like 5'6". And Frankie, I guess he was already 6 foot or whatever. But anyway, when we was playing football at Parkview, and everybody got around Hammond, and they gave me a square hand. I was little on the team. So Mr. Hare, he told me, he said, you need to go out for football. He said, you need to go out for football and play. He said, you'd be great one day. But he was using me for a punching bag for Frankie. So he put me on, Frankie there was on the A team and I was on the B team, me and Leonard Davidson. And we was the punching bag. So we had a good team back then. But anyway, what Frankie was talking about, I'm going to tell into that story what you was talking about. Frankie was talking about a play where they was going to pitch the ball out to me, and I was going to run around and come around. But I heard Frankie back there talking to Joe Stowe, and I think Tink was back there. He's getting ready to loop around his side. They just took Leonard and beat him half to death, went up through the middle, body slammed him, and he comes with it back. He comes back. Then when he comes back, then they called the sweep play. I said, no, I'm not going to run. I'm like the broke Leonard's leg and back. So they called the play and I ran. Here comes Frankie now running this way and I'm running this way. Next thing you know, Frankie now they waiting for me to turn. I took off running and Frankie now chased me. I'm telling you, through the sideline, they chased me. I threw the ball up in there. They were still at me. So I kept running and running. Frankie didn't tell you, I climbed up on the fence. And they pulled me down off the fence and tackled me anyway. And he was behind it all. I love Frankie. Frankie's one of the greatest athletes to ever come out of Jeffersonville. Because when we was in school, Frankie, he was in every sport, and he was the best. He was the best in basketball, football, and I ain't taking nothing away from you, Anthony. But you know, Anthony was a very good athlete too. But Frankie was the best. So I felt like I was getting beat up by the best. I want to thank the officials here today for having me here. Carrie, thank you for contacting me and putting everything together. I want to thank all the Zoom ministers here. Yeah. Reverend Miles. Okay. Thank you for being here. I want to thank my family that's come out today. And I do have a lot of family here, but there's members of this church, but I really don't see any of them. The Reds, the Miles, the Hurdles. Yeah, I mean, there's people here. You know what I'm saying? Okay. But, you know, I love y'all. You know, I want to thank all my friends for coming out. Thank you, Tick, for traveling from Indianapolis, and Sean for coming down to hear the word today. I want to thank a very special man today. He's been like a father to me all my life. He's made me the businessman that I am, an entrepreneur. He reached back and he pulled me up with sound knowledge because, as he pointed out to me, knowledge is worth more than all the money in the world. And if it was not for this man, I probably wouldn't be standing here today. I'd probably be locked up or, you know, dead or what have you. He's one of the greatest entrepreneurs that I've ever set my eyes on. And anybody that will cross his path, he has nothing but sound advice and knowledge for him. This man is almost 82 years old and still out here on the battlefield for the betterment of us and fighting for the right cause. And if there's any award ever to be given to a man in this community for making this community better, or any plaque, it should have Marvin Stevenson's name carved in it. Give this man a round of applause. I want to thank my wonderful wife that's been with me for close to 14 years now. She's been through the struggle with me. We've got 5 kids. We just had our last child. But faith jewel. I told the Lord, thank you for blessing me, but don't bless me in that department no more. You know, but she's been with me. She's had my back for so many years, and she told me if I leave her, she's gonna put me on my back. So I'm not gonna leave her. I'm with her. I want to thank my stepmother, Mary Martin. She's been with me. My father passed back in January, but she's been there like a mother for me. And I want to thank her for being here today. I want to thank my sister, T. I want to thank my sister-in-law, Connie. I want to thank Anthony and all my friends for being here today. After my father's passing in January, I made a promise to my father that I would come back to my ministry after 19 years. And I ran from my ministry because I was assistant pastor at Lincoln Park Baptist Church years ago, and I was there for a while for personal reasons. I ran from my father begged me to come back, and I did for my father in Jesus Christ. So my journey started back in January by doing his eulogy. My father was a very powerful man and a man of God, a great teacher. And I want to give him honor today for instilling that on me to be the best that I can be, as well as other men that has come through here, great leaders like the Reverend Williams and the Ralph Levels and John Ford and Reverend Lees. These are people that crossed my path and made me the person who I am today, but I want to give them honor today. As I said earlier, this is a crucial time in this country for black men because we are losing our identity as a people. We are a dying species, as they would say. And this is an ideal time to deliver this message. Now I want to tell you, about 13 years ago, I left here. I was hurt, and I was mad. I was hurt because of 5 years prior to that, I was lynched by these Jim Crow laws here, sent to prison for a union strike with Rotorua being the only black on the picket line. They took and singled me out and sent me to prison. And then on top of that, I was mad about the way that we are towards each other as a black people. The jealousy and envy that we have for each other. It was just so much, that was going on. I said, I got to leave here. I don't want to be around here no more. But it was the wrong thing to do. But I did learn from it, because when you're in the forest, you cannot see the trees. But when you leave the forest and you look back, you can see, and we have a lot of problems here that needs to be fixed as a people. So today, I want to be part of fixing some of that problem that we have here. The title of my sermon today is Let Faith Lead You on Your Journey. And if you would, follow me to the book of Job. Follow me to the book of Job. And I will be reading from the 6th verse through the 21st verse. Take me back, dear Lord, to the place where I first received you. Take me back, dear Lord, where I first received. Take me back, dear Lord, to the place where I first received you. Take me back, dear Lord, where I first received. Are we there yet? All right. 6th verse. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord. And Satan also came amongst them. And the Lord said to Satan, from where do you come? So Satan answered the Lord and said, from going to and fro on the earth, and from walking back and forth on it. Then the Lord said to Satan, have you considered my servant Job, that there is none like him on the earth, blameless and upright man, one who fears God and shuns evil? So Satan answered the Lord and said, does Job fear God for nothing? Have you not made a hedge around him, around his household, and around all he has on every side? You have blessed the work of his hands and his possessions, and have increased him in his land. But now stretch out your hand and touch all that he has, and he will surely curse you to your face. And the Lord said to Satan, behold, all that he has is yours, is under your power. Only do not lay a hand on this person. So Satan went out from the presence of the Lord. Now there was a day when his sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their oldest brother's house. And a messenger came to Job and said, the oxen were plowing and the donkeys feeding beside them, when the Sabines raided them and took them away. Indeed, they have been killed, and the servants with the edge of the sword. I alone have escaped to tell you. While he was still speaking, another also came and said, the fire of God fell from heaven and burned up the sheep and the servants and consumed them. And I alone have escaped to tell you. While he was still speaking, another also came and said, the Chaldeans formed 3 bands, raided the camels and took them away. Yes, and killed the servants with the edge of the sword. And I alone have escaped to tell you. While he was still speaking, another also came and said, your sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their oldest brother's house. And suddenly a great wind came from across, and the wilderness struck the 4 corners of the house. and it fell on the young people, and they are dead. And I alone have escaped the terror. Then Job arose and tore his robe and shaved his head and fell to the ground and worshipped and said, naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I shall return there. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. God have a blessing on the reading of his holy word. Now, the journey of Job is the journey of a people in this country. Job was a great man with great wealth, and that is a fact. But that wealth had to come from somewhere. Either he built it or he was born into it. With wealth in many areas comes leadership. And he must have been a great leader also, because he provided for families and he had employees. In leadership comes a lot of faith and trust. And by putting your faith and trust in the wrong place, you will fail. Job had a great faith in God, and he was tested on this faith by Satan. Now, you know there are so many men that has passed the test of faith. There are so many men that have failed the test of faith. There are so many men that are passing the test of faith. And there are so many men that will be tested, as Job was. Someone had to equip Job for this tragedy. Sometime back when he was a boy, maybe his father, grandfather, or uncle, or even a man of God, took the time out and taught him and pointed out to him that in order to become a man, he would have to have a belief in God first. He had to teach him. By becoming a man, he would have to have faith in that belief. God would have to be the centerpiece in his life. And so many men today know this, understand this, and build their lives around this. But the flip side of this is so many men don't know this because they haven't been given direction. Now, when God called me into the ministry some 22 years ago, he pointed out that my ministry will start right here in my race of people, where the struggle of suffering is deep and embedded in the souls of my people. As Moses was called into his race by pulling the Israelites out of bondage from the Egyptians. And since I have lived in this bondage of my people, who would understand it better than me? Amen? Amen. Now, I need to take y'all back a little bit in history to establish the foundation of my message. Because so many of us need to hear this over and over again until it is embedded into our minds. There's a big problem going around this country. In every state, in every city, in every town, in every community. And even right here in my hometown, which I love. A lot of us are suffering from Negro-nesia. This is where you have forgot where you come from. And when you forget where you come from, you don't know where you're at. And you clearly will not know where you're going. So we need to go back into history to where we come from, so we can find our way back to the direction that we was once headed. So we can look in that mirror and change our way of thinking. Now, the method of slavery to the American black man was adopted from the days of Moses, where the Egyptians were taught to crush the Hebrews. The Hebrews had lived in Egypt in bondage for 430 years. They made their lives so miserable by forcing them into a cruel slavery. They was given orders to crush the spirits and make them feel less than dogs. Was even given orders to kill the firstborn, to destroy the strength of that race. Because they knew in order to destroy people, you had to destroy the courage of the millions. Kind of like what's going on today. Today with our men. And we as Christians know that there was one that survived this brutal act of Satan. And he changed everything. And that was Moses.